Your first $100,000 of income as a real estate agent is by far the hardest income that you're ever going to generate or earn. From there, it actually gets easier. And so in this video, I want to share with you how and why that is the case. And so I think a lot of agents, especially here on the channel, because you guys have told me, I think probably about 80% of you are not earning $100,000 a year yet. We'll talk a lot about that in today's video. But then I'm hoping that after you go through this video, there's a light at the end of the tunnel to see, okay, once you get to that $100,000 mark, that scaling your income past that actually becomes exponentially easier. All right. So as we get into today's video, like always, if at any time you want to have a conversation about potentially having a coaching relationship, just simply click that link in the description. You could schedule some time to talk. We could talk about what it looks like to work together at some point in the future. All right. So let's get into this. And let me share my screen. As always, I will show you what we got going on. All right. So here, let me do this. I'll go like that. This might make this easier. There we go. All right. So to work with today, we're going to just have some averages. I hope that's okay with you. I know that in some markets, your commissions and your average prices may be a little bit different. But for today, let's just use some simple averages, shall we? So just for numbers' sake, we're just going to look at this average price point of $400,000 at 3%. It's a $12,000 commission minus your broker split of 20%. Leaves you with about $10,000 of your average commission. Now, I know the analyticals out there, that drives you nuts. It's not down to the T. It's not down to the penny. What about I get it. Just for this video, this has nothing to do with the context of this video. Just stick with me on this, right? So you can get a takeaway. So you can get some learnings. All right. First thing we have to talk about is what I call energy economics. And so the thing with this is that with our energy and our focus and our discipline, it is not infinite. It is not an infinite resource, unfortunately. That would be phenomenal if it was. That's just not the case. The reality is it's very finite, meaning we have what we have. Yes, there are some things that you can do to increase your energy and focus, but for the most part, you have what you have. And how you use these energy resources will determine your results. And we'll talk all about that in this video. All right. So when we talk about energy economics, let's just, for the sake of this conversation, to just keep things really simple, is that you've got these 10 units of energy and focus, and that is what you have to deal with. There's no more, there's no less. That's what you get. So with these units of energy, we have to say, okay, well, how is this energy being consumed? Now, I realize that as we get to this video, there are a lot more things that you're doing with your time or your energy than what I have on the screen. But for this video, let's just keep it super high level. Okay, I want you to really, really grasp this. So what I'm going to do right now is we're going to look at where, as real estate agents, what takes up these units of energy and focus. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to highlight these items that are not income producing in red. And then the ones that are actually producing income, I'll put those in green. Okay. So the first thing that we have on the list is prospecting. So talking to people, right? I think people get that word a little mixed up from time to time. But you talking to people that want to buy and sell houses, we'll call that prospecting. Now, there's many, many, many different ways to do that. I've got over 1,000 videos on the channel to teach you all about that. Today, we're talking about this really, really important concept. So prospecting, we'll say that that's one unit of your energy spent on prospecting, generating opportunities for you and your business. That is an income producing activity. Prospecting has a direct result on your bottom line income for sure. The next thing on the list is lead follow-up. So following up with those prospects to turn those prospects into some type of an appointment, whether that be a listing appointment, a buyer consultation, etc. We'll say that that's worth 1 unit of energy. The next thing on the list is showing property. Okay, showing property to buyers. I've got that marked down as 2 units of energy for the simple fact of how much time that actually takes, how much energy that takes away from us. We've got that with 2 units of energy. And it is not income producing. And the reason why we look at income producing versus not income producing is we say, okay, does that action item have a direct result on my ability to generate income as a real estate sales professional? Showing property is not one of those things. Why? Well, because we'll talk about this later in the video, but you don't have to be the one to do the showing of the properties to actually make money in real estate. That's why. The next thing on the list is servicing buyers. So I have this with 2 units of energy. It is not income producing. That activity of servicing buyers, I'm talking about going to inspections, following up on, this document or that document for the title company or for the mortgage company, updating them throughout the process, things of that nature. Servicing the buyer is not an income producing activity. It is an income servicing activity. Next on the list, servicing sellers. I have that with 1 unit of energy. The reason why I have that 2 to 1 is we know that on average, it takes about 3 times as much effort to close a buyer transaction than it does a listing. And so that's why I have those associated like that. All right. Preparing and writing offers. Again, not an income producing activity. Doesn't lead to more clients, and it doesn't lead to converting prospects into appointments. It's a non-income producing activity. The preparing and the writing of offers, even some of you may not like this, even negotiating offers is an income servicing activity. Now, I'll make a whole nother video about that. And I hope that doesn't just throw you off into a tizzy and now you're all upset and can't watch the video. Just stick with me on this. The next thing is going on appointments. That is an income producing activity. Going and obtaining new business, meeting with a buyer and seller, and having them sign a contract that agrees to them compensating you is an absolute income producing activity. And then lastly on the list, again, I know there's a lot more that's not on the list, is your social media and your marketing, managing your database, doing all of those tasks is not an income producing activity. All right, so we have these 10 units of energy dispersed through these activities. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of these main activities. Again, I am aware that you do many other things that are taking away from your energy. But I want you to just see something here, okay? So now that we understand what's consuming the energy that we have, let's now talk about what I call income levels. All right. In level 1, it is you that spend all 10 units of energy on whatever it is that you're producing. You're having to do all 10 of these. You're prospecting, you're doing all your lead follow-up, you're showing properties to buyers, you're servicing your buyers, you're servicing your sellers, you're writing all your offers, you're going on client appointments, you're managing your social media, you're doing client events, you're going to networking events, you're doing your own marketing. You're doing everything. You are the solopreneur, as we call you. You're the solopreneur. You're changing the light bulbs, you're changing the toilet paper. You're doing You are a one-man band or a one-woman band. That's what you are. And so as a result is with all 10 units of your energy going into your business, depending on how proficient you become at this thing, is going to equal an income. And that income, whatever that income is, call it, 50K, 100K, is extremely difficult income to generate because you are spinning all the plates and you're trying to make sure that all those plates don't crash. You're having to do everything on your own. So when I coach an agent, I say that is like the most, well, I'll just call it what it is. It's a very, very, very difficult place to be. It's not fun. You're working 70, 80 hours a week. You're miserable. You're working nights, weekends, You're just like, dude, you start to almost resent the business a bit. And you're saying, my gosh, because if you're not earning, let's just call it, 6 figures, 100K, you really, really in level 1, you really start to question, well, geez, is this thing even worth it? Look at how much time I'm working in the business. And if you're not making 6 figures, you say, wow, there's probably a lot of other things I could be doing with a lot less time to make the same amount of money. But let's just assume that you're getting to at least 6 figures and you're having to do it all. That's level 1. All right. Now let's talk about level 2. So when I coach a real estate agent and I take on a new client and I say, okay, let's kind of look at this from a 30,000 foot view. In level 2, if we start to explore after we get to this 100K number, if we start to explore hiring a full-time licensed assistant, okay? A full-time licensed assistant, whether that be somebody that's already licensed or someone that you hire that you help to get licensed, I want you to really, really grasp what's going on here, okay? This is the first time we're introducing leverage into the business, but I want you to see how it affects your energy economics, okay? So we hire this full-time assistant, and I have agents ask me all the time, well, Brandon, is there a list of things that you recommend that I have them do? Well, if we just keep this really, really simple and focused on this concept, we would start to look at, okay, of these energy vampires, we'll call them, things that are zapping the energy, that are consuming our energy, I'm going to first look at the reds, not the greens. I'm going to say, okay, I need to get rid of as many non-income producing activities as I possibly can. Okay, well, in this level 2, I'm going to keep the in-person client work, and I'm going to have my assistant do servicing of the buyers, servicing of the sellers, and I'm going to have them start to manage my social media, my marketing, my database, things of that nature, communicating with my past clients. And so if we look at just, okay, delegating these tasks, getting these off of my plate, how many units is that worth? Well, in this case, you got 2 here. You got 1, 2, 3, 4, right? Okay. So we hire the full-time assistant, and as a result, we get 4 more units of energy, right? And not 4 more, but we get to reallocate because we get the same. It's finite. You're not getting more. You're actually reallocating the 4 in exchange for money. So you've heard this term a million times, buying back your time. This is what we're introducing to a real estate agent in level 2. You're investing in a human to buy back units of energy to reallocate those to get more results. Now, where do we put these? This is where most people go really, really wrong. Now that we've got this reallocation of 4 units of energy that we didn't have before, most people just take this newfound time and they waste it. Well, we're not going to do that. We're going to look at, okay, now that I've got this 4 more units of energy that I've just purchased, That's what hiring an assistant is. You're purchasing you're purchasing a reallocation of energy consumption. Okay. So we're going to look at the greens. That's where they need to go. So don't screw this up. As the CEO of your business, don't screw this up. You're going to reallocate these into the green, into money-making activities. So if we said, let's just say we've got prospecting. Now, we had one. Let's just put another unit of energy, right? Now this goes down to 3. Lead follow-up. We put another ounce of energy there. Now we've got 2, right? And let's just we'll actually put 3 into prospecting. So we got an additional one here, additional one here, additional one here. We've got one more unit, and we'll go into appointments. Because with all the additional prospecting that you'll do, with all the additional lead follow-up that you do of building this pipeline, you'll have a lot more time to go on more appointments with buyers and sellers. And so instead of only having 1 unit, now you get 2 units, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, now as a result of that, just look at what we've done. We have 3x'd our prospecting, we have 2x'd our lead follow-up, and we've 2x'd our appointments. We're able to go on double the amount of appointments, we're able to do double the amount of lead follow-up, and we're able to do 3 times as much prospecting. 3 times as much prospecting. As a result of all of that, okay, you should, at a minimum, what we see most agents do, at a minimum here, is you should be able to double your business. Now, most people here do a lot more than that, but I want to just err on the side of caution and say they just double. So they go from 100K to 200K. We subtract out a really, really good assistant. And let's just say you got to pay that person 50K. This is a net positive of $50,000 in income, not working any harder. That's the thing. Not working any harder. It's the same amount of time. We've just reallocated where we're spending that time. And now our time is worth another, in this example, it could be a lot more than this, another $50,000 in income. Okay? Just with buying back level 2. Let's talk about level 3. So, level 3, we're going to make an additional purchase here. All right? So, in level 2, we made one purchase to get back some units of energy. In level 3, we're going to do the exact same thing. So, when I go back and I look at this as a CEO and I say, okay, I'm good here. I bought these back. I bought that back. I bought this back. Where else can I buy back where would be a good investment of buying back some time? Where am I spending the most amount of my energy for the lowest return that I can just purchase? Well, it becomes really, really obvious. There's only 2 reds left on this table because I want to stay in the green zone, we call it. So I'm trying to get rid of all the reds. So can I make a purchase to get me out of the reds? Absolutely, you can. So if we make another purchase and say, okay, I'm going to make another investment and I'm going to get out of showing property altogether and I'm going to get out of preparing and writing offers, I'm just going to get out of that completely. I'm going to get out of that business and you hire a showing assistant. So this is another administrative task. We're not talking about a buyer's agent. We're not talking about hiring an egotistical salesperson who wants to come leech off your success, steal all your best practices just to leave you and go do their own thing. We're not talking about that. We're talking about hiring another administrative person who, again, is licensed. Okay, this is a licensed showing assistant. Okay, this is a non-salesperson. This is a client service position in your business. Because again, my belief is that as you start to build leverage, you don't go after the ego-based team model. You start to build administrative leverage around your personal sales production. So we hire a showing assistant, okay? And this person would get paid 25 to 35% of the GCI, okay? You're going to have them take over the showing of the properties and the writing of the offers. So they can show all the properties on your behalf to your clients. And then when that client gets ready to make an offer on a property, you can have that conversation with your client to say, okay, here's what I'm thinking. This is what we need to prepare. You're the doctor, right? You're the expert that they're looking for. Your advice is worth the money. They're not paying you to push the buttons in your MLS to prepare the paperwork to send through an e-signature platform. Don't get that twisted. That is not what you bring to the table. They're paying you on understanding the housing market such that you can get their offers accepted and get them into the home. So you can delegate the preparing of the loading up the documents in your MLS and then putting in the information and then getting all the disclosures, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Putting all the little check marks by the little places to sign. Listen, if you're going to be a high income producing professional, which again, in my belief, is the reason why you got into this business. Otherwise, you'd be doing something else and probably making, more for the time you're putting in. You're here to really maximize your return. Well, stop doing these things that just aren't worth a lot to you. Okay. So I think you get it. So now you just bought back 1, 2, 3 more units of energy. So in level 3, we got another 3 to allocate. So where are we going to put them? Right? This is a really simple, basic CEO training. We're going to put these into the green, are we not? We're going to put these into the green. So now, in level 3, out of level 2, you already have 3 units of energy going into prospecting, right? So if we put another one, boom. So now we got 2 more. Lead follow-up. We already had, coming out of level 2, we had 2. Let's add another one because you're going to need it with all the prospecting that you're going to be doing. And then we've got all this time to go on listing appointments. We got rid of all the buyers. Listing appointments. You're going to put another unit of energy there. Now, all 3 of these units, whereas before you were doing buyer consultations and showings, et cetera, now all 3 of your units of focus in all 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You've got all 10 going into money-making activities. And oh, by the way, all 10 going into listings. Here's where things get really, really, really exciting for you. We know it's about a 3-to-1. Okay, we know it's a 3-to-1. So in 3-to-1 as it relates to working primarily a listing business versus a buyer business or a split. So now this is where in level 3, we can really, really see things get exciting. Because if you were earning, let's just call it around 200 to 250,000, and you are what we call a level 2 producer, in level 3, here's what happens. This, yet again, doubles, okay? But watch. So you could probably go to 4 to 500K on earned income, okay? On earned income, just with those 10 units of energy, okay? This is just because all 10 were all based on lead money-making activities and on listings only. But here's the other great part. Remember that showing assistant? They also bring in, because this is on your earned time. But now in level 3, you've got this new source of leverage because all 10 of your personal units of energy are spent on acquiring listings. any buyer opportunities gotten delegated to that showing assistant. And so as a result of that, you bring in a brand new 25 to 30% of new business that otherwise was unclosable. As a result of getting more listings, there are more inbound sign calls, more open house opportunities for your showing assistant, which generates an additional 25 to 30% of additional business that otherwise you would not have had, on top of what you already generated with your newfound time. So on, let's just say 400,000 times another 25% is another $100,000 of newfound income that otherwise you would have not gotten, of which your showing assistant is going to get 25 to 35%. So let's just subtract out. We'll just say another $35,000 to pay your showing assistant. $3,000, $3,500 a month to this person. They are loving life. They're in the real estate business without having to worry about lead generation. So that leaves you with what? What does that leave you with? 65K? On top of your earned income, this is where, again, you can get to this $450,000 to $550,000 a year using the exact same amount of time you were in level one, where you were earning 50, 60, 70,000, doing everything. And it was extremely difficult for you. And if you think about this as a business, right? I know everyone talks about that all the time. Like the word business gets thrown around. The whole definition of business is that things inside of the business, not you, but inside of the business, are happening without you having to touch it. That's the whole definition of having a business, of entrepreneurship. As a real estate agent, you can do this without hiring the ego-based team by following the structures we just outlined in this video.